So today we are going to talk about staffing models. In our previous sessions, we talked about like general basic navigation, how to use the system, how to explore different options. And then in the last session, we talked about organizations, and particularly we spend some dedicated time on supervisory organization. So today we are going to understand the next step, which is staffing model. So before we get into that, let's just take a look of today's agenda. So we are going to understand different types of models. Uh, Firstly, what the staffing model is. Then we are going to talk about two specific types of staffing models that are currently available in Workday HCM. So there used to be a third one as well, but now it's no more it's no more available, and these two models are used. Before we go into that, let's just understand, and it's really important to understand what staffing is. So what's the goal of staffing? The goal of staffing is to fill various roles within any organization, and we are filling this role with suitable individuals. And when we say suitable, these individuals um, are picked or are selected based on their specific skill set or abilities that are required to perform well in that job. So in Workday, what's the purpose of having these models? So staffing models are used to determine how jobs are defined, how these positions, these jobs can be filled. And then based on this model, we can actually define different levels of controls within the system. Uh, Both of these models have specific goals, and uh, based on what an organization is actually looking for, uh, we select the specific job staffing model. So the two types are position management and job management. So any organization can go for either of these staffing model, or we can also go for a combination of both. We'll um, we'll look at both of these type, and then we'll also do some practice to understand that how things differ in both of these models. The selection of these models is actually dependent on the unique rules that are designed by a different organization, and based on that, any organization can choose to use one or both of these models. So let's just first understand the position model. So the position staffing model, basically position management. This model allows more control. Um, for the positions, there are different hiring rules, restrictions for the position that we are looking to fill in. There is a single position that is created. Um, Positions can open after a job change. So for example, if there is already a person on a specific job, and we are running a job change process, so we'll see how that job change process will have an impact on that position. So and then within this model, positions can be moved from one supervisory organization to another as part of a job change, and position can be closed if we don't need it anymore. uh, this allows more flexibility. We can put certain restrictions at organization level. And just to explain the hiring restrictions, so for example, let's say uh, I want to hire a specific resource in a particular location, for example. So I am putting up that restriction that this position A can only be filled in, for example, US. So that's a restriction that I want to put in. So that's an example that let's say there is, let's say um, there is a branch office located in India, for example, and I want that position to be filled in India. So so the candidates should be available in India. Why? Because there are lots of things associated with that. We talked about it a little bit in last session as well, but to be more specific, um, there can be a budgetary reason for that. There can be any other reason for that, but that's just an example that I am putting a restriction on the location. That's just example. There can be other restrictions as well. So for example, I want that position to be filled in a specific profile. For example, I have different profiles created uh, in Workday, and I am restricting a profile. So we'll understand the profile, the job position and profile thing in next session. But just to understand, we can put up a restriction based on different factors in this model. No quantity is defined for the number of jobs available for hire within an organization. A position no longer exists after a worker is transferred, demoted, promoted, or terminated until it is moved with the employee. So we'll check this. We'll run a transfer process, and we'll see uh, the different options that we'll get while we are executing that process. So as I mentioned hiring restrictions. These are the rules or the conditions uh, that allow you to limit or restrict who is hired into an organization restriction. So one or more job families, could be job profiles, could be location. Um, it could be a worker type, that this is a specific position I am opening in a particular supervisory organization, and I want it to be filled uh, by contingent worker only. I am looking for a contractor, so I can do that. There can be a time type, a worker subtype restriction. So it all depends. I have more flexibility, and I can put up any of one or more restrictions while I am creating a job in this uh, using this model. So position management apply to the single unfilled job, and job management apply to every job created within supervisory organization. So before we go to job management, let's just first take a look of like how we can how we can perform different functions in Workday using position management model. So again, I'm using the testing tenant. So let's take a look of, so we are going to pick one organization, and then we'll see what type of staffing model is used in that uh, particular supervisory organization, and how that impacts the overall function. So executive management group is one supervisory under global modern services. And so if you want to check that what staffing model is being used in this supervisory, we'll go to staffing, and over here we'll see position management. So generally, whenever we are again, as we talked about it in last session as well, whenever we are um, like creating something on top level, uh, until unless we don't specify it, it a lot of things are actually inherited on the second level. So similarly, let's say if we create a supervisory, for example, and we have selected position management staffing model, so until and unless we change it for subordinate organization, these organization will also use the same staffing model. So let's take a look of this one and see what staffing model is being used in this supervisory. So see, we have this position management staffing model used over here as well. Let's see what are, again, it's position management. And just to let's actually try and create one supervisory organization, and then we are going to I'll have to see if this user has that access. For some reason, the Logan's one is not available. So probably, so Logan McNeil that we were using in our last session, she has the master access for everything. Let's just try for one more time if we can access from Logan's profile. Okay, so this is still not available. So let's just try with this what is already there. So for example, executive management group, position management, staffing model, and now for example, I want to go in this finance and administration. Okay, so let's just try with this one. So we have these supervisory organization already created. Let's just try for HR operations department. Okay, unfortunately, this user also not has that access. So let's just wait for a couple more minutes and see by the time we cover the theory parts. So going back again, so the position management model that we talked about, it allows more flexibility. We can put restrictions. We can make like restriction based on our particular requirement. And again, the goal of using any and all kind of these staffing models is to make our staffing process, like the process of filling, retaining, and developing people more smooth, and based on the particular requirement, um, we select which model to use for. We can also go for the combination of this. If we the purpose is to keep the track of all these staffing activities using these models. If we can't keep the track of that good data, we won't be able to know who the people are that we have, what are their specific like what's their area of specialization and what they do. So in order to set those like unique rules for our specific organization, we use these models. Coming to the next type of model, which is staffing model, job management staffing model. So in this model, there is a specific process. There are usually chain of chosen what defines what happens to a position when it is vacated. So generally, and to understand the concept and the difference between these two models, position, generally the example that we give to clarify the difference between these two models. So the example of position management is just like that. Let's say there's a conference room and there is a table and there are five. There's a space for 5 people there. And if we are looking to accommodate or to add one more person in that arrangement, we would have to pull an additional chair to have someone's to make some space for an additional person. And if out of those 5 people, if anybody is going, then that chair becomes available, that chair becomes vacant to be filled in by the other position. The job management model is generally, you can say, it's an open it's an open space, and you have like more like generally more control in this type of. So if we as I was just showing you on the tenant, so that's just an example of staffing model. It's a position management staffing model that is being used here. Generally, whatever we create at the top level supervisory, and if we create subordinate organization under a particular group, so the subordinate organizations will inherit the model from the supervisory. So if we have selected position management for executive management group, so all these subordinate organizations will also choose position management staffing model, unless we specifically go and change that change the model for that specific supervisory. So again, you should, the most important thing is we need to understand the concept of both of these model. And position management model, we have more control. um, if we have to add another person, another chair, we need to add another requisition until like to accommodate one uh, additional person in that arrangement. So it can be assigned while creating an org. We can use added staffing model task. So you have to go to the tenant setup, we'll type added staffing model, and over there we can do that. Once a position has been created in position using position management staffing model, or hiring restrictions have been set, the added staffing model is no more available. It means that, for example, I I chose position management staffing model and created one position, and then I'm trying to change the staffing model, then it will not work. Why? Because I have already created the position. So we are going to practice it to understand that how these staffing models, like how these works, how this inheritance concept and assignment of roles vary amongst these two models. Maintaining staffing models, so it allows you to view all supervisory organizations that have the staffing model selected but do not yet have any positions or jobs created. So we can take a look of supervisory organizations that, so for example, if we look at this slide, so global modern services is a top level supervisory, under which we have another one which is course development. So, and likewise, we have other organizations, supervisory organizations created here. It means that they do these organizations do not have any positions or job created at the moment. And if we want to, for example, I want to change, let's say, uh, the model of training one, so I want to change it from position enabled to job management enabled. So I can actually go there, click this one, and I'll uncheck this checkbox and click on this job enabled one. So that's how I can change it as well. So once you practice this, we'll have more clarity that why like that this which one has more control, which has more flexibility, when can we change it, the thing that we just talked about, what are the restrictions that we can put in while using a job management staffing model, which staffing model requires a position to be open in order for a worker to be hired. By the way, these activity questions that we look at here, these are the sort of questions that are asked in the job interviews as well. And you will only be able to answer these questions once you practice this. So let's just try one more time, and if we are unable to do it, then I'll probably contact support team and ask them to uh, check if we are able to access Logan's profile so we can practice these models. So edit staffing model. So we have this position management. We can actually change it to job management. So let's just do one thing before changing it. Let's just create. Okay, so we have already these two subordinate organizations created. And let's just first go to the course department. The staffing model is position management. So let me just copy it, and let's just try and create a job requisition in this one. So let's see if there is already one position created. There isn't any. Let's just create a new position. So over here, we are going to specify number of openings. So let's say we are saying one opening. Over here, we have to select the reason. So generally, jobs are filled for 3 reasons. Firstly, if someone is, for example, leaving the organization, and we need to hire a replacement. So that's a backfill, replacement or backfill. So employee, and it could be like maybe employee has resigned or he or she has been terminated. The other reason could be that employee, there is an additional headcount requirement, and uh, like the company is growing and there is more increasing need for people and we need to hire more position. Again, if we dig down into its like its reasoning, then it could be like the position could be previously approved. It could be like we are requesting additional headcount, or we are looking to hire anyone for a temporary work or any temporary project. And then the other reason could be that someone is actually like over here we are just adding someone. There could be a reason where we have actually transferred someone to uh, another department within the organization, and again we are looking for a replacement. So let's just go for this one. So we are going for number 1 position. Are we generally, if we are going to, for example, select, let's say, replacement. So let's say someone has resigned or transferred, and I am looking to hire a replacement. Generally, if someone has resigned, for example, so the Workday will actually show the record of those names of those people who have been terminated or resigned in past 60, 30, or 90 days, and then we can pick the name of that person. Why it's important? Because we will be able to have that like use that information later for our reporting. So we would know that this is a new headcount, or this person or this individual has actually been hired as a replacement of XYZ person who was an employee. So because like let's just go with that. We are not selecting or anything here. um, this is actually, this is again an optional period. It's not necessary that we do that. Sometimes we are um, there is like integration connection with the portals, and we can from here we can select that whether we want it to be internally or externally. We also need to select our target hire date. Target hire date, whatever we'll select here, we will not be able to hire a person before that. We can always hire after that, but not before that, because we have put a target here. So let's say we are putting, um, let's just put today's date, and maybe there's a possibility that we might have a certain referral plan internally, which is available in a lot of companies, that if any employee, for example, is so there are different referral plans. Let's say any employee, any existing staff is recommending someone for a position, and if that recommended candidate is hired, then that employee will be eligible for a certain bonus or whatever that uh, amount or anything that is included as part of the referral payment plan. So over here we are going to put um, a title, um, let's say finance officer, for example, and let's just keep it to make it different amongst other. There are different job profiles available in the system, so we are going to see, are there any recent use? No. uh, Job families, so there are different job families. And then since we are creating in finance, so let's just finance and accounting, and then specialists. So while we're talking about it, so this is the job profile, this is um, job family, and all these things are actually used to for different purposes when we do the reporting, compare against different things. So let's say over here we select senior accountant. So when we selected senior accountant, so this profile was already created, and then there are details already available in the system. So someone, like as a sample, whenever this position or this profile was used last, there were some details added in the system. So whenever we select the profile from here, the available detail will automatically be available here. So let's just quickly try this. If you are going to select another one, let's say financial analyst and regional senior financial analyst. So you see this has changed now, because against the specific profile, these details were uh, available in the system. So let's just use this one next. Okay, so probably we have something. Okay, and over here, so going back to our discussion of restrictions, for example. So you see, these are all the things that we are selecting over here, and these are the factors, these are the different parameters based on which we can, if we want, we can restrict this. So for example, let's say I want to restrict that I only want to hire uh, like fixed term contract person, so I can do that. It all depends on my requirement, but I can have these restrictions defined for under a specific model. So if you are to add any, these are the optional details. We can, for now we'll just skip it, but we always have an option if we want to add certain skills. They are already let's say if I'm going to type finance, or by category finance, so I can, let's say business valuation, and just like that I can add different skills here. And if I need any specific experience, any certification, I can define over here. These are the competencies defined. So I'm moving towards next step. These are the organization level details, and this is uh, based on the supervisory organization that we actually selected while creating this job. So this is getting pulled up automatically. If I want to add any specific job description, detailed job description document as well for future reference, I can do that as well. And then the compensation factor, I'll define here. So there is a range defined here. um, Again, these all things we are going to talk about it in next session, but these all things are populating based on the job or the profile that we have selected. And on the back end, we have actually defined a pay range in that specific job profile, and that's why it's getting populated here. And then if I want to, for example, add a specific amount, yes, this is the pay range. But if, let's say, I want to define a specific amount, let's say I'm saying 123,000 USD, let's make it. And then again, that's a merit plan. Again, that's something defined for by that specific organization. Let's say I'm saying that the person at this specific level is eligible to get some merit bonus or some another kind of bonus, some merit plan. So I can like, again, it's auto populating, and it's populating based on the profile that is already available in the system that we are using now. It's just giving us the review of all the details that we have filled in. And as soon as we click the submit button, this requisition will be created. So we have completed this process. So we have created a position, financial analyst. And uh, why it's showing this, that our request has now gone to Logan McNeil. And Logan McNeil, as I mentioned, that she has HR power user access. So, and the process that we have defined at the back, that whenever we'll create a job requisition, a position, it will go to Logan uh, for approval. So she uh, she will now we'll be able to like, she will now get, she is to perform the next action on this position. So um, this is the whole process. I'm not going to like take further on it, but now we are going to perform the same process using a different staffing model. Over here, it was a position management staffing model, and now we are going to check job management staffing model. So let's just go back here and let's check this one. And if we go by this one, so we over here we have these positions, and in this one we don't have any position. So let's just try if we are able to edit the staffing model. We'll make it job management enabled. Let's just okay. So over here, okay. So let's just do one thing. Unfortunately, there are a few options that are not available with this user, because in order to be able to understand the difference between the two options, we need to have the master user access. And that is available on Logan's ID only. So that's why we are facing some problem over here. So let me just show you some additional options in terms of the existing model that have, and we'll talk about the uh, the other aspects of it in the next session, and we'll cover the difference of both. Hopefully by tomorrow this will get fixed, so we'll be able to understand the difference. So let's say now we have picked a different supervisory organization, and I am actually running a change job process. So I want this change to be effective from 16. Let's say why I am making this change. Let's say I am transferring an employee, uh, move to another manager. I probably need to uh, mention the name of that uh, individual. Okay, so this individual is not a manager. So let's just select the other one. So she is a manager, and once we select this, so we'll get the options of her organization. Let's say we are moving this person to human resources, and let's just start the process. Now this is the thing that we saw there. So what's happening here now? I am actually executing the transfer process. I am moving this person, Blair White, from customer support Canada supervisory to human resource supervisory. Now I am getting this question when I'm going to transfer this person to a different organization. Do I actually plan to backfill this person in his current organization? So in customer service, am I planning to backfill this headcount? So uh, I have this option. Either I need to close this, or I need to uh, move this headcount to new manager. Moving this headcount to new manager means that this position is being transferred from customer service to human resource, and we are not going to backfill it anymore. And if I plan to backfill it, then with the transfer process, another position will get open in his current. So customer service will have one position created, and the current individual will be transferred to human resources. So let's say I am saying uh, that I plan to backfill this position, and if I am going to do it, then this option will not be available. So I'll go for this one, that I'm planning to backfill this position, and this position will be available for overlap. What does that mean? This means that the new person, like both of these people, the current one and the future hire will have some overlap. So for some time they both will be in that position. So I have executed that. Then I'm getting now I need to like his designation is customer service operations support. So this was previously empty, and now I am just going to fill in the details. I need to confirm that the location will be Vancouver. If I want to change it, then I can type something else as well here, but let's just keep it. Then I'm also getting all these details. He is an individual contributor, full-time salaried person, a regular employee. I'll see all these details, again all that whole process. And cost center division, I'm just getting, it's just showing me for confirmation. His current salary is this in like in Canadian dollars, because he's currently based in Canada, and the pay the currency that is selected for his specific supervisory was in CAD, so it's getting in the same. And then it's now showing me all the details, like I'm going to execute this change from 16th August. I'm moving him to another manager. Earlier manager was Elaine, now it's going to be Joy. The organization or the team, he was in Global Support Canada Group, now he'll be in Human Resources. Practically speaking, it's not done usually because support people have their own skill set and own different kind of jobs than what's required in Human Resources. But over here, we are just doing it for the sake of understanding the process. So I'm going to review all this information. That's the, you can say, the summary screen. And if I wish to change anything or anything that I've missed in the earlier step, so I can change it here. And then once I'm sure that yes, all the information provided here is correct, then I can submit it. So maybe I have missed something that it's giving me. So I have missed selecting the position there, and that's why. By the way, you will see whenever we are running a process, generally either you won't get any alert here. Sometimes you get, if you are missing anything, you might get an error, and sometimes you can get an alert as well. Alert won't stop you from proceeding to next step, but that's just for your information. That, for example, let's say if I have defined a specific pay range, so and let's say I have defined 50,000 to 100,000 pay range, and I am giving, let's say, 120,000 salary. So it might, depending on what I have selected at the back end, it may give me an alert that I am actually entering a salary which is higher than the defined range. So that could be an alert, and that would not stop me from proceeding. But for something like this, where I actually missed out selecting a position, so it has actually given me an error that it will not allow me to proceed unless I uh, provide that mandatory information. So once I have done that, again, that's submitted and that's gone to Logan McNeil. So that's just a process that we have run. So we have run the transfer process where we are actually transferring one person to from one supervisory organization to another supervisory. And you see, you can still see this person over here. Why? Because we selected the 16th August date. So he will be transferred to the new supervisory organization on 16th. So that's the whole process that we that we understood. We are going to continue from here, and we'll also see the difference. We'll perform both processes in both of the models, and then we will see the differences.